So what has happened to Nyana Banyana? Now, obviously, we've covered her a little bit beforehand in terms of Face Connect. A lot of people obviously speculated, and it's been pretty much confirmed, I'm pretty sure, that she had graduated, obviously, from this indie account, and then going over to Anya Nyabyss of Phase Connect. Now, there was some issues, and there was actually some issues if you guys saw the last videos that we made on this a couple of months ago. Essentially, yeah, there were some delays in terms of the rest of Phase Saga. The rest of the kind of VTubers, did their debut streams and whatnot, and Anya Nyabyss was one of the last ones to do it, and came in a little bit late, which obviously I think has maybe caused a little bit of an effect of what has kind of happened here. And now people are very, very confused because, of course, it seems like she's uploading. Things are going pretty okay, I think. She's just streaming like usual. But, of course, some people are a little bit confused because it says here on Nyana Banyana's page, coming back soon, which apparently hasn't been there before. Again, I don't check her page often, but people are saying that, it wasn't there before. So she might be coming back soon, which, again, I find is very, very interesting. And lots of people are very, interested in that, right? Saying what happened. And obviously this is on Kurosanji. Now, again, there was some comments down here. One of them was kind of speculating about stuff, but I don't want to go into it. Saying she resurrected as another VTuber. Saying, I think you're missing the point of OP's post. Reading what it says in a Twitter bio, lol, coming back soon. So this has me worried too. Feel both bad for Nyana and FaZe if things didn't work out. Which is saying something considering some of the other members, which kind of pisses me off because her original design was really memorable, but now she's just your standard goth cat girl. Saying the same thing with Ren Penrose as well. She's absolutely unremarkable now. And obviously some people talk about Ren Penrose, saying, she wasn't like the other invaders in the sense that Sakana never bought the rights to her IP. So maybe she just wants to stream on both, assuming her contract doesn't stop her from doing that, though it does raise questions as what she would gain from that. Because maybe she doesn't know what to do with her situation, so she wants to try both personas. To be honest, she should go back to being indie so she can seek mental help on her own time and schedule. Which, of course, yeah, a lot of people, are saying that, she could potentially be doing both. Which, again, I don't see why that would be the case, right? I feel like there probably would be a better way to do it. I feel like just kind of going back to indie or staying on the Phase Connect one would probably be better because, again, you're kind of splitting your audiences a little bit, but I guess maybe there could be something to try there. Saying, RE coming back soon. Sorry for the long essay. TLDR, we don't know anything for sure, but it might actually indeed be that it isn't working out, at least based on available metrics. Saying first was her delayed graduation due to a complete mental breakdown and religious psychosis, apparently. I didn't see anything about the religious psychosis, but we all know that her graduation was delayed. I'm not sure where that information is from, so again, take it with a grain of salt, but if that did happen, that's pretty crazy thing. As someone else mentioned, I don't want to speculate on what a condition is. I have a few suspicions since I researched the subject a lot, but the symptoms were quite worrying if they are recurrent. Saying this doesn't mean that she can't be successful Phase Connect streamer, but it did cast a shadow on her debut, which, as mentioned, was delayed about 3 months. Before all this, Banyana was supposed to be the biggest signee for the Phase Saga generation. She was a rising indie star who came out of the Flavor Collective, a group that willed itself into existence purely as a prank on Pippa Pipkin, who had come up with the original concept. So yeah, obviously, whenever this was all announced and Anya Nyabyss was announced, people were excited because, again, it's a huge signing. People very, very much liked Nyana Banyana, so they were really, really excited to see what she could do at Phase Connect, right? Nyana Banyana was the Phase super fan who made it to Phase, and with 70k subs and rising fast, it seemed like she could have been plausible to go anywhere, not just Phase. So on paper, before the delay, if there was going to be at least one breakout star from the gen, it was going to be her, who is now Anya Nyabyss and is immediately recognizable. When Phase Saga dropped without her, the main breakout star was immediately Nitya Nil, the South African crocodile with wicked deadpan humor and an exotic accent. This wasn't going to preclude Anya from succeeding, though. You can have multiple breakout stars. In fact, Anya's debut had 111,000 views as a VOD, the highest of any VOD in her generation. Lots of people were still very curious about this person. However, Anya's debut, though, these seem to be the stats. So yeah, since the debut, these are all the subs. Anya is, yeah, one of the lowest, saying, okay, so she's a little bit behind, but she's not doing too bad, and she's not last. Plus, she started later. Phase is getting a little bit oversaturated anyways now, and could use a break on getting anyone new for a while. They have other big milestones to hit, like 3D for a lot of their streamers, concerts, and other Phase Con, etc. Well, what about Twitch? Anya does stream there too, right? That although she streamed a bunch in the last 2 weeks, before she was streaming about 5 times a month, the main thing is she has 7,900 followers on Twitch. Again, this doesn't put her in last in the group, but the distribution is in line with their YouTube stats. Nitya again leads the group with just over 20k subs. YouTube appears to still be the main outlet for everyone. So now let's look on Phase Saga's super chats in total, which is certainly not all her revenue, but it's usually an okay indicator on how she's doing on membership and merch. And obviously you can see Anya is definitely not doing exactly the best in terms of that either, right? And so essentially I think what they're getting at is that, you know, she's had a bit of a delayed kind of, what do you call it, debut. And of course, things probably aren't going as well as maybe they hoped it would. And potentially that could mean that maybe that's why she wants to go back, right? So keep in mind that your monetization stream is usually going to be the biggest stream of your first year. And since she was delayed, she wasn't competing with any of her genmates on that. So like her debut, she should have had a bit of an advantage there. So that's a really stark contrast, even with her being newer. Someone like Malice might have had fewer fans, but they're older fans and thus would have deeper pockets. Whoever Anya's fans are, it seems like they aren't spending a lot of money on her. So the indications are that she's not making a lot of money, and she has nearly 3 times as many subs on her old channel as she does for Phase. If she doesn't have a day job, she's likely living with family or whatever, saying she also has to give probably around half her revenue to Phase Connect. This is not because Phase Connect is predatory, but because unlike most Western agency CEOs, Sakana can actually do math and knows what is both fair to the talents and keeps enough to keep the agency afloat. But that doesn't mean everyone at Phase can thrive or make ends meet. Now, to be fair, Sakana likely is giving her extra money, since he actually does do that for people who are struggling when starting out, and props to Sakana for that, but that doesn't last forever. So yes, so honestly at this point, I suspect Anya/Nyana is at least considering a return to past life, but keep in mind it's also entirely possible that she made the change to her bio on impulse while in a bad mood. So yeah, some people saying potentially it could be a bad mood thing. She could have just changed it because, you know, she was feeling down or whatever, which is understandable. Or some people thinking that potentially there could be a big change. So yeah, obviously did a bio change recently to that it says coming back soon. Said, I know, I'm asking if there's a recent change, and said it says it's coming back soon. Like, oh, bro. Saying, so is this new or has it always been there? And again, you know, a lot of people are confused about that. So again, I don't know if you know, it is completely new, but it is still there, right? At the end of the day. I think after reading all of the comments, I'm convinced reading comprehension is dead, which yeah, is true. Saying hello again, OMG, she's quitting. Saying that wasn't so hard, thank you. Like, why couldn't Vopi have done themselves? Saying she changed her Twitter bio. A single image with no description doesn't explain something to an unfamiliar non-Phase fan. Said we've lost the plot, bro. Saying not surprised to see this. She did mention the possibility of graduation 2 months ago, and she has plans of becoming a religious VTuber. It's an idea she brought up on stream. So yeah, of course, that is pretty interesting, right? Said she's in the next phase of her life. I mean, yeah, that I think this is the point of OP's post. Read what it says. So yeah, obviously it seems like a lot of people are just like ignoring the fact that it says coming back soon, which of course is the main point. But I think there are some pretty good explanations down there in the kind of comments talking about what potentially could have happened. You know, what statistics and stuff could have led to this happening if she wants to return to her old thing. And maybe it could be to do with some of the religious stuff too. Maybe, you know, it's easier to do religious content, not a part of an agency or something. Which could happen. You never know. But yeah, that's about all I got for this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go over to GameSubs, use my code Kazza, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.